Hello, everyone. I hope y'all are all having a great day. It is September 13th, and today I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about mainly the tropics, and I'm also going to be talking about severe weather a bit. Uh, so right now we have Tropical Storm Nicholas right off the coast of Texas. You can see it right there, and we're gonna talk about that for a bit. We're also going to talk about these two disturbances, and then I'm going to kind of talk about severe weather. Uh, for just a bit. Then I'll talk about kind of the general pattern of things and that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and get started with the video. So currently we can see we have Tropical Storm Nicholas with 70-mile-per-hour winds located right off of Texas. We have hurricane watches out. I don't think we have any hurricane warnings. I think we just have tropical storm warnings in those blue colors. Forecasted to be a tropical storm, going to go right towards Houston. And it's just going to bring a lot of rain. We can see 1 p.m. tomorrow. It's just right there. It's right over pretty much really close to Houston. By 1 a.m. Wednesday, that's 12 hours. It barely moves. It's still right there. Another 12 hours, it does start to speed up. It still moves very slow as a depression in Louisiana and then in the Mississippi as it weakens a lot. This is what we can see going on right now on the radar. So just by looking at this, it's probably the best or decent radar for this radar side. Looks like the low is right about right here. You can see we have a little report right here. Sustained winds of 40, gusts up to 62. That's right, Port O'Connor. Right now, the Houston area is just getting some light to moderate rain. Nothing significant, really. This is the main part right here. This is the part that's going to bring some flooding. Now, a lot of heavy rain coming in the areas. Soon to be coming in the Galveston. Galveston starting to get some more heavy rain. But still nothing bad. Lake Charles is getting some rain as well. A lot of rain with this. The main threat's going to be the flooding with this. So let's go ahead and go away from GR2. Let's take a look at some of the models for this. So, wait, that's the wrong. I want the South Central U.S. Let's talk about or not talk. Let's just look at forecasted precip amounts. This is off the latest GFS. Has the most amounts. Kind of. Let me go here. So Houston's right there. So the GFS says there's higher amounts, kind of right by the Freeport area, up towards Angelton, and still a lot of rain all the way even in the southwestern Mississippi, and still lots of rain even by Lake Charles, 6 inches according to the GFS, and its GFS is fairly consistent with a lot of rain over this area, kind of a lot of rain over this area. Generally, I'd say that this area is can't draw it right, but generally, I'd say this area is going to see the most rain. Uh, Take a look at a few other models. We can take a look at the Canadian. Canadian is very similar to the GFS, other than the fact it kind of has it a little bit further to the east, but still, this area is going to be seeing a lot of rain. Maybe even upwards of around 10 inches in some areas, some localized areas. I wouldn't be surprised. And yes, those are the only two models I really want to look at. It kind of gives us the idea of what we're going to be looking at in terms of rain. Some localized amounts of maybe 8 to 10 inches of precip, and definitely the high. I think the highest. I think the greatest rainfall totals will be across this area of southeastern Texas. Now, doesn't mean that areas in Louisiana can't see flooding and won't see a lot of rain. Some of those areas will see significant rain, and it will cause flooding in some localized spots. Yeah, so that is the that's what we have kind of going on with Nicholas. We can see what happens when Nicholas kind of moves out is, not much. It just weakens over the state of Louisiana, goes into Mississippi, and then moves into the southeast. Friday, it's kind of just a little disturbance. It's really nothing for this weekend. Oh yeah, looks like the original piece of energy kind of gets. Looks like it just gets kind of split, I guess. It's hard to tell. No, wait, actually, no. It looks kind of just lingers over the southeast for a while and brings some showers through the weekend. Uh, so yeah, it looks like that'll be around for a bit across the south and the southeast, bringing some decent rain. Um, Now I want to go ahead and talk about about the severe weather side of things for a little bit here. So we do have a slight risk for we have three slight risks today. We got one up in the northeast, one in areas in the Midwest from Wisconsin down in the South Dakota, and then one for areas of southeastern or coastal southeastern Texas. That's associated with Nicholas. 5 down there, 15 wind, and 215 hails as well. Day two, we have a slight risk up in Michigan down into Illinois. Now, the day I'm going to be talking about today is day three. The day three is Wednesday. We can see we have a slight risk for a good bit of the Northeast, going from Maine down into eastern Ohio. So we're going to talk about that. No day through 4 through 8. We did have one. We did have a day 4 yesterday, but that's now day 3, where we have the slight risk, in which we have a slight risk on day 3. Let's go ahead and talk about it. So this is the NAM. I mean, it does indicate kind of a line of storms Wednesday afternoon. So what I want to do is I kind of just want to take some look at dews, look at a few things, and I want to take some soundings. Kind of just the normal stuff. I really wish Pivotal Weather wouldn't have these ads every time you switch in between stuff. It's really annoying, but yeah. So we can see Wednesday afternoon, we have dews widespread 65 to around 70, maybe below 70s in some areas. Let's go ahead and take a few soundings. So, I mean, it's really easy to tell where we have our front. It's right here. Kind of this general area right here. And then in front of us, with that moist air. Let's take a sounding right here in southeastern New York. That's actually not terrible. We have plenty of instability. The shear profiles look generally, I mean, they don't look great to support. They don't look to support anything great tornadic, or can't speak. Sorry, but they don't. The shear profiles they don't look to support a really high tornadic threat at all. But this would bring a slight risk for some tornadoes. Definitely nothing too bad though. Hodograt doesn't look that great, but definitely a severe threat. And damaging winds will likely be the main threat with that. Take us sounding all the way up in Maine. I'm sure this is not going to be terrible either. No, actually, we do have plenty of instability. The shear profiles, this doesn't look to support much of a Tor threat. It would still be there, just be very, 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 very low. Lapses are decent. Not good. I'd say decent. Overall, I don't think you're going to get much of a Tor threat out of this. But not a terrible sounding. You will see some damaging winds and some smaller hail with that. I'm going to take a sounding down in Ohio because we have a bit of a severe threat. Not as much of a Tor threat. Let me get a different sounding real quick. That one's a little bit contaminated. Take one right here. Okay, that's even worse. Okay. Try one in West Virginia. All right, here it goes. One's not as bad. Okay. So instability is a bit more limited down here overall. Definitely a pretty marginal severe threat. Looks to be this looks to be mainly as a general thunderstorm. Risk here. You could get some thunderstorms out of this, but I wouldn't say anything severe. The SBC, if I'm correct, does have a marginal though, down in the West Virginia. Let me see if that's true. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we do have one all the way down there. So that's good. Now let's go ahead and it's not good, but all right. So this is 7 p.m. now on Wednesday. 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. You can see the cold front is moving east. It looks like we might have two. One right here, there may be a reinforcing one right here. It depends on how you look at it. Actually, no, I think it's just right here, and this might just be cold pooling. I'm not sure. We can see we have still pretty moist air. That's expected. Take a sounding in Maine. Once again, not terrible. I kind of like the looks of that. Take a sounding down in southeastern New York. I mean, the Tor threat, I mean, it's not, you're not going to get much of a Tor threat after this. And after dark, I think that the threat of really, after dark, I think the main thing you're going to want to look for is the storms in the already ongoing line. I don't think you're going to get any new storms to really get going. Uh, but still, maybe even after dark, we could have a little bit of a Tor threat. It doesn't look to be anything significant, though. Take a sounding in eastern PA. Once again, I mean, doesn't look to be anything too great. So overall, in summary, Wednesday, I do think the greatest severe threat's going to be kind of this area right here. I think we'll have the potential to see the greatest severe threat, and that includes things like damaging winds, smaller hail, and a little bit of a Tor threat. I think we'll see a two Tor, maybe even up to a 5 Tor. It depends. So as of right now, I go with a 2 Tor. We'll have to see what the SPC does in the morning. Yeah, so that's a severe threat. So the last thing I want to talk about in today's video is the overall pattern we're going to be going into as we go into the second half of September. So it's kind of like, okay, that was, my voice crack was nice. But let's kind of look at GFS. You see the general pattern. So this could play a big deal in this to the weather across the plains here. This is Monday next week, September 21st. This is 174 hours out, so it's not going to look exactly like this. This is about a week out. In fact, this is a week out, pretty much exactly. But we can see different runs of the GFS. It doesn't look too consistent, but in the past 3 runs, it's been relatively consistent. But sometime around next Monday, we might have a low. Kind of draw slack. I'm kind of a low about right here. Some kind of cold front stretch now, like that. Maybe a reinforcing one right here. I think we have an upper level high up in Canada, pushing down some more cold air. And that'll bring some pretty cold air up to the northern plains. We even have a series of blows go off of that original front. It bring colder air to the northeast, maybe the south. It looks like, I mean, we're going into the second half of September. We're going to be seeing some some Arctic blasts starting again pretty soon. We've already seen a few. I mean, for like November standards, they haven't been Arctic blast. I mean, it's just kind of cool downs of some drier air. We can see though this could be a pretty nice one for the northern plains, maybe the Midwest. You can see the GFS indicate maybe some 30s next weekend up there. Or not next weekend, I'm sorry, about a week out. Which would be pretty nice. It's relatively consistent with some cooler air up there. It doesn't make it too far east. It makes it to really the east coast, and it kind of fizzles out with the exception of the northeast. But maybe sometime mid to late next week, we could get or pretty much next week, we could get a pretty big cool down for the northern plains, the southeast. This is 258 hours out. This is very far out. So this is not. We're just kind of looking at this for fun at this point. But we can see we have 40s in the northeast, widespread 40s, 40s all the way down into almost Huntsville, Blairsville, Georgia. 50s all the way down into almost the Gulf Coast in Mississippi, indicated in the GFS here. Definitely some very cool air. And could go back and look at some different runs here. And that's not consistent at all. So I wouldn't even say that's going to happen. But maybe sometime next week we could get a cool down. I'd say right now it's pretty certain we could get a decent cool down next week in the northern plains, maybe the Midwest, the upper Midwest as well. But yeah, to wrap up this video, I hope y'all enjoyed it. I will be back either tomorrow or Wednesday. But yes, goodbye.